Hey guys, Gerald Peters. Most likely this will be for the second income stream letter. One of the most common things I get asked is about margin. What you have to understand, maybe I'll use this whiteboard to help a little bit, but I'm actually going to go inside some accounts here. What you have to understand about margin is a loan, okay? But margin is different at different brokers. The way Robinhood does it is different than the way Charles Schwab does it. It's different than the way E-Trade does it, and it's different than the way M1 does it. I can only talk about the ones that I use, okay? Now, they're all somewhat similar. E-Trade margin is for, I would say, people who want to be a little more advanced. I don't know if that's the word. If you said, hey, I want to do this, I want to manage money, my own money, I want to trade, I want to have the ability to leverage or to hedge my account, I want to be able to do some options or day trading, all of that kind of stuff would be an E-Trade. I'm going to try to explain to you the difference between E-Trade margin and M1. The only two brokers I personally use, M1 and E-Trade. Now, whenever I say this, someone will say, but what do you think about Charles? Listen, E-Trade and M1, it's the only ones that I can account for. For crypto, the only one I recommend, the only one I use, the only one I would use is Coinbase. If you use any other, I don't know what to tell you, okay? Those are the ones I trust. And for me, trust is everything. I've been with E-Trade since the beginning, since 1998, I believe. And they've been just fine. There's a lot of little things that bother me here and there. And there's things that like M1 can do that E-Trade can't do. And that's why I got involved with the M1. And I'm going to show you why I got involved with the M1 because of the difference in margin. If you're less sophisticated or don't want to spend much time, watching your portfolio, you're not a trader per se, you don't want to spend time, a lot of time on it, and you want to keep it simple, I think M1 is your play. And I use M1, and I'm going to show you why I use M1, and I use M1 margin. Now, I'm not running a second income stream like I do at E-Trade, okay? E-Trade's the one I show you. E-Trade's the one I show the dividends from. But I'm going to show you here. You know what? Let me, I got to pull up a chart here. Hold on. We're going to pull up a page. Sorry. Now, let me get back to the home page here. This is me. I've logged into M1. Now, when you first log into M1, okay, yeah, there we are. Cool. All right. So when you first log into M1, you see right here, it says Gerald Peters. I have two accounts. Both have margin. I've tried to do a third. They wouldn't let me. Apparently, it says you could call them, and maybe you could. Now, I'm going to show you, say, why have more than one? They could have different goals. I believe in buckets. So if you've got my free ebook, you don't have to die broke. In there, I do buckets, okay? Let's see. Now, it says, this is my money, $29,083.83. Now, I'll give you a little backdrop to this account. I know you're like, well, that ain't that much. I know. I've only had this for a little over 4 years, and it was an experiment right here. Originally, and you see in this account, I have $33,486. This was an experiment. I wanted to prove that combining the money flow trading system, the strategy, the 4 stages of price movement, adding on a stage 1, trimming on a stage 3, either riding, holding down, hedging, or selling some, or getting out on a stage 4. You could do a lot of different things. It could depend on the account, and that's how I handle it. In a buy and hold, I don't get out on a stage 4. Stage 4 is just an alert to watch, to get ready, so that I can start picking up as soon as it stops dropping. How do I know? It goes stage 1, okay? This is just a systematic way to repeat an ongoing process that over time stocks go up, okay? So I'm just trying to buy at the right time. And if I'm not right, oh well. So you see, in this portfolio, I have $33,000. I began putting $25 a day into this fund about 4 years ago when I first moved to New Orleans as an experiment, and I bought 3X leveraged funds. I got the idea one time sitting listening to Ray Dalio talk about his all-weather portfolio. Actually, it was in Tony Robbins' book, Mastering Money or whatever. The book, in my opinion, is dumb. To me, it's I don't know. I just wasn't impressed with it. Anyway, in there, he talks to Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio he said, this is what you do for your all-weather. Own some gold, bonds, S&P 500, and then I think it was REITs. I don't remember. That gave me the idea. I was like, wow, what if we did a version of this and I did triple leverage and I would sell into the stage 3, which would take my share count down. I'd ride down the stage 4s, and on the stage 1s, I start redeploying the money. Plus, every day I'm adding $25. But the $25 is buying $75 in equivalent equity. It's leveraged 3 to 1. So I'm going to show you the funds that were in here, and this is I'm going to explain, okay, margin a little better here. So TMF. This is the 20-year Treasury bond. So the TLT times 3. TQQ. This is the 3X technology, or the QQQ. And then the UPRO is the 3X S&P 500. And those were my original 4. Originally, I was going to go gold, UGL, and I'm like, man, I'm really about that time had turned to Bitcoin. And I had gold, but as soon as Bitto came out, I dropped it and picked up Bitto. Now, what Bitto did is Bitto paid a dividend. It didn't start that way. It took a minute, and it tracks the price of Bitcoin, but it doesn't track it perfect. So your Bitcoin purist will be like, yeah, but Bitcoin was up 192%. That was only up 150%. Okay, but it pays a big fat dividend. That dividend is cash. You can eat it. I'd rather lose some upside in Bitcoin to get money that I can pay bills, make a car payment, because if I can do that, I get the appreciation of Bitcoin while getting money, okay, the art of money getting. I've since expanded this portfolio just a little. I figured the experiment worked. I held it for 4 years. I ran it through. I wrote it up through the meme, wrote it all the way down through COVID. I went through 2 basically complete crashes. I wrote bonds down almost 90%. All said and done, it still outperforms the market. At one point, the market was up 11% this year, and I was up 33%. Right now, I'm up, let's see how much we're up here. Right here. The money weighted rate of return, 31%. So holding these triple funds plus dividends paid me 31%. Now, staying with the integrity of the fund, what I did, and again, this is just experimenting, okay? I realized that, okay, I own the NASDAQ, I own the S&P, I own bonds, and I own Bitcoin. That's the all-weather portfolio. Bitcoin, bonds, S&P, tech. Boom. Own it. Typically, bonds go up when stocks go down. That broke down in the last 2 years. That has always been historically. It's with a 60-40 portfolio. That's where they tell people as you age, buy more bonds. What they're talking about is fixed income. Bonds have done horrible. Some fixed income has done great. So you can't just go as simple as just saying bonds. But okay, and you say, okay, man, margin. What's up, Joe? Look at this. Access your full buying power, 6.25% margin loan. M1 Finance will let you borrow up to 50% of your balance as a loan. Even on the triples, even on Bitto. No bullshit. You can't borrow as much, but that's okay because you're buying triple leveraged. You'll see in the account right now, I have $225 every day. Today, I had $25 deposited. Tomorrow, you'll see that is $250. That plus the assets I'm holding, I still have access to $4,500. Let's go back here for a second. God, where did I see it? Let me go to holdings. No, activity. Trying to see if I can find the margin balance here. I was just on this page I wanted to show you. Hold on, give me a second here. Oh. All right, so if you click right here, margin is the amount you can borrow against this account to invest into this pie or slice. Meaning what they're saying is, and they're going to give you an example. Let's say you have to have at least $2,000 in. Let's say you're brand new and you put $2,500 into an account. Once your account is cleared and everything's good, what they're going to tell you is you could then, I don't know why I picked 2,500. Let's say 3,000. Keep the math simple. I am getting old. Since you deposited 3,000, you can borrow another 1,500. That's 50% against your cash, right? Meaning you keep it and you take out an amount. You can then take that amount and put it back in to buy stocks, or you could bring it home and put, use that to fix the tires or put braces on the kids or fix whatever the problem is so that you don't have to sell your stocks or your crypto, okay? It gives you power. So if you're not into what we're doing, I'm going to show you how to buy income with it. But let's say you don't want to do that. You could just take your savings or your do-over if you have my free book. This is just money that just in case, and park it in, and you could just put it in the S&P if you want to be safe. S&P, some REITs, some bonds, and like all weather, and then just let it sit. And it'll grow. But then if you have an emergency, you could just borrow it off and not have to sell. You were going to sell it anyway. So you're only risking what you were already going to be willing to do. So to me, it's a no risk. Margin is the amount you can borrow against this account to invest in this pie or slice. It assumes you'll also invest your cash into this pie or slice. Margin funds are only used to trade when you place a buy order using margin or transfer funds from your margin loan to this account with auto invest or a buy order. In other words, on M1 Finance, this is the distinction. On M1 Finance, you can elect to use margin. If you don't, it's still there. As you put more cash in, you get more margin buying power. Hope this makes sense, okay? Now listen to what I'm about to say. This is so important. With E-Trade, it is not like that. Every dollar you cannot choose. Every dollar activates immediately. You are always on margin. You can't pay down the margin. At M1, you can target just the margin and pay back the margin. Unless E-Trade has changed the way they do it, as of right now, this is a trader's platform. You stay on margin. The only way to get off of margin is to sell the shares you have on margin. The net effect is get out of the position, okay? You can't just send a bunch of money over and it pays off the margin. Now, it seems like they would have a way to do that, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you can call them. Maybe you can say, hey, I want to buy all the shares I have. I don't want to sell them. Because when you purchase the shares, it automatically buys on margin. So if you buy $1,000 of, say, CLM, and we're going to read this, has a minimum maintenance margin requirement, meaning you have to have that fucking money in your account. 30%. You only put up 30%. Means $1 can easily buy $3. So when you buy the 1,000, you're automatically buying the $3. So only a portion of that money is yours. So you may spend 1,000 buying shares and you'll see your balance drop by 300. $300 came off your balance. You'll see it. You'll see the difference. It'll say you're available to withdraw. You're available to purchase. You're available to use. You'll see it drop by the maintenance margin requirement of what you're buying. Sometimes, and with some accounts, their maintenance margin is different to purchase than to hold, right? Meaning you don't need as much to buy it. You need more to buy it. You need at least 50%. But to hold it overnight and for days on end, you only need 30, okay? And you're going to see that. You shouldn't even be worrying about that. You shouldn't be that damn close, because if you get to fucking zero, you're going to get a margin call. We're going to talk about that here, right here. Available margin can change based on your balance. The margin requirement for your current investments and the ones you're buying. Securities with elevated margin requirements can decrease this amount. Did you know you can also withdraw cash from your margin loan to pay for anything? Now we're going to talk about that right here. How do margin loans work? Oh, here we go. Sorry. How do margin loans work? To be eligible to take an M1 margin loan, you need to have at least $2,000 invested. Now, this is M1. They do margin different than E-Trade. So go and read. You're not going to understand it the first fucking time you read it. It feels like a little bit of a circle play, okay? Just stay with it. Put in enough money you're comfortable. Watch it. It changes. Some of them do it at nighttime, require less than during the daytime. That's common in futures and other shit, right? Some of them, they change. So CLM may have a 30% maintenance margin. I mean, the shares you own, the value of those shares, you need to, at all times, have in your account 30% of that balance to maintain it. You don't need to calculate this. It's going to show you right on there. It's not even going to let you buy more than you can, okay? Don't overthink this. And we're always never going to buy all we can. We need to leave a big fat cushion. As you collect dividends, you can buy more. As you add money, you can buy more. So we're in a constant state of drip buying to buy more. You can usually borrow up to 50% of the value of your securities. You got 100,000 in there, they'll let you borrow 50,000. E-Trade, they'll let you borrow more. E-Trade charges more interest. M1 Finance charges a nice 6.75. Not bad. Meaning if you had 100K invested in CLM and it's making you say making you $1,400, $1,500 a month, right? That's hundreds of dollars a week. You could literally borrow against that to go pay cash for a car. And then instead of making a fucking car payment to a dealer or to a hard money lender, you pay yourself back. And every time you make a payment, you get a little bit more margin that you could add to fucking CLM. This stuff blows my mind. People don't think about it. Not all securities can be used as collateral margin loan. Some of them are considered high risk. They won't let you use it. And that can change. I have M1. You can buy Bitto, 50% margin. You can, E-Trade, 100%. Doesn't let you do it. Repayment. Margin loans give you more repayment flexibility compared to some fixed term like personal loans and mortgages. You can repay a margin loan balance when it works for you, except in a margin call. You will be charged monthly interest until you pay back the loan. Interest is deducted once a month from your brokerage account from your available cash balance. If there's not enough, they're going to take it from your margin. If there's not enough margin, they're going to sell some shit. They're getting their money. And they're not going to let you sell out of it without paying them back. So this is guaranteed loan. That's why you get such a good rate. Watch this now. Activity. Watch this. Activity. January 6th, 2025, M1, borrow bill payment, $49. $49. Okay. My dividends, $18.90, 89 cents, $15. Bito, $280.50, $331, $317, blah, 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 blah. What was it? Watch this, though. Average monthly income. Now, this is being dragged because as it grows, there's a drag, right? Because it's doing average, but it's average in the last 12 months. So 12 months ago, you didn't have as much in the account. So right now, what does that say? $716. $716. Let's try it. Now, and again, this is low. It's usually more like 800 and something. But look, okay, 800. And what was my cost? Monthly cost. Minus $49.04. $667 positive cash flow for borrowing that money. Now, let's go look over here on borrow. Click borrow. The value right here, the value of your investments would have to drop 38% to face a margin call. My account would need to drop by $12,939. Now, these are triple leveraged, so that could happen fast. Now, bonds do what the fuck they're supposed to do. They should go up when that happens. That helps keep me from a margin call. So do dividends. Dividends just hit in cash. When those dividends hit cash, my access to margin increases. When that happens, it moves over into the green. I let that go a minute. I'm adding 25 a day. That builds up. I hit it. I buy more. For every $49 in interest, I can buy 666. I'll round it down. Let's say $700 in cash flow. 49,700. 49,700. Okay. See how that worked? Here's a smaller one I do called the $10 a day. Let me we'll pull this up. I put $10 to $20 a day in here, 5 days a week. I have for a couple of years. And I use margin. Took a while until I could get to $2,000 at $10 to $20 a day. Look at my holdings, costs, unrealized gains today. I was up $145. I have $5,132 in there. Total borrowed $2,000 something. This is my excess equity. So they're saying my account needs to be at least $3,341 to maintain this. And this is my excess. So I'm good right now. I mean, today I was up $145 and you look, well, that's not today. What am I saying? Let's check the dividend income. Average monthly income, $105. Now it's actually a little more. It's actually about $120. Well, let's see what this cost us. $13.32. So I'm going to say 120 minus $13.32. It's $106 for every $13. For every $120 I borrow, it costs me. Well, that's not a good way to state it. For every $120 in income I buy, it costs me $13 in interest. And if you look, let's go down to borrow. Look, it's much healthier, 45%. So my account would need to drop by 45% to have a margin call. So I need to take this shit down. I need to go buy some more income. See how this works? I add money, collect dividends. Or drip. When you drip into a stock, you can borrow 50% of the value of that stock. So every drip and every add, whether it be cash or dividends or share purchases, increases the amount you're allowed to borrow. Okay. You want to keep it in this green. You get down in the yellow, stop borrowing on margin. Let it build back up with either money you add or dividends you collect. Does that make sense? So now let's add these two accounts up here. So we said 106 plus 700 is 806. And I'm paying 49 on the other account plus 13 on this one. So that's $62. That's $62 in interest for me to buy between $800 and $820, depending on how we do it. I don't feel good rounding down because I know it's higher, but I don't know the exact high. It's been coming up every month, but we'll keep it simple. Basically, $68 for every $800. That's actually gone up to what it was. So it's actually starting to come down. There could be a point where it's like, man, is this worth the risk? Because when you get paid the $800, you can just pay it to the loan if you want it. 10 months, that money's mine. But right now, I'm trying to grow, baby. I'm going to push it. I ain't even worried about that, man. I need to get that shit much, much higher. Much, much higher. Okay, I'm trying to, right now, I got 150-something thousand in the second income stream that I'm showing publicly. I got more than I'm not showing publicly, but that I'm showing publicly. And I'm also taking some swing trades in there to offset erosion. Right now, it's not working very well. Dow's been coming down, and some of those stocks are so undervalued, man. I don't even want to cut them. I'm doing B&B trades with them. They pay a dividend. Shit like Merck, Hershey, Kraft, Kellogg's, Campbell's. I'll pick those up in the second income stream. If they're undervalued, below the 200, I'm going to collect some dividends, and I'm going to run up. I'm going to catch some alpha. We're going to make some income, and that helps offset erosion that you're going to see in these super high yield funds that we have going on in the second income stream. Hey, that was just a little rundown of life inside of M1 Finance. Those accounts that I showed you were predating me putting together the second income stream strategy as I have now. I've been working on that the last 2 years. Really, the spark for the idea started before then in a different closed-end fund, but now with the advent of Defiant and YieldMax, and honestly discovering more and more stocks that paid at the NAV. It all kind of just came together, and I needed it because I'm going to be selling off properties. And so I was trying to create a bridge fund that somehow I could offset the cash flow that I was going to be losing on the 15 properties we're selling. And then as I began to run it through the system, I realized I'm going to 3x the cash flow. Every house I sell, if it's making 400 cash flow, that's after mortgage, taxes, interest, and all the worrying, it was going to generate 1,200. I'm going to do that 15 times. And it blew my mind. And then I was like, wow, maybe on a part of that, what if I leveraged it? And so, I was like, wow, I was mapping out ways to 50,000 a month. And it's like, wow, that's pushing it on the risk end. But, you need to take some risks, man. You don't go, this ain't grandma's retirement. This ain't your head. This is not what I'm showing you here. Guys, this is not investing. This is not a 401k. I wouldn't think of it that way. There are unknowns. The way I would look at it, it is a well, it is a drip, it is a business, it is a side hustle. You got this thing over here. So when you have a rental property, it's making XYZ. You got a 401k that's making XYZ. You have where people go bad is they get it and they just go all in and hope it works. Don't do that. Build it up. Give it time. Man, just put in your own money. Shit, if anything, stop putting money in other things. And I'd much rather you stop putting money in retirement than cash in your retirement. Does that make sense? Like, don't do no dumb shit like that. Don't take tax hits like that. Let that do its thing. But for a time in a season, yeah, I would put all my focus on a new thing. That's how I did Bitcoin. Everything went into Bitcoin for like 6 months, just everything. I stopped everything else and built up a big enough position that it could make a difference in my life. And that's what you should do on the second income stream. I hope you enjoyed this video. Appreciate you being a subscriber, and give it time. You're not going to understand this overnight. It's going to take months and months and months. Relax. I use both M1 and E-Trade. I think E-Trade is better if someone wants to be more serious, trying to be more active. You're using charts. You're in the MFG. You kind of know what's up. That's a good one. If you're not up, don't think you're going to have time to follow that closely. You're trying to create a more simplified version, and you might want to use that money for something else, and you want to be able to pay off the margin immediately. M1 is your play. I use both. They both have a different purpose, and they also, some of the different stocks have different margin requirements. So, hey guys, I hope that helps. Peace. Let me know, man.